All right, welcome back to Fiegel Files. Today's episode, I don't have a guest. Last weekend, I had the privilege and opportunity to compete and participate in the 2025 Official Strongman Games World Championship. I thought I'd recap that trip, recap the event, talk about some cool stuff, and just wish you a happy Thanksgiving. So, I was blessed to qualify for this event. I'm in the 40 plus heavyweight men's category. So, I had a regional qualifier that I was able to sign up for. I placed second, which gave me the opportunity to go to the world final. Pretty big deal. I've been in Strongman since my first competition was a novice competition in October of 2022. And 2023, I didn't compete until again in October, where I tried open for the first time. I got a coach in 2023 with Austin Andrade. Kind of did mediocre there. I mean, I was proud of my lifts, proud of my performance, but like fourth out of fifth in an open competition. Did a competition in Louisiana in November of 2023, where I won the junior heavyweight type thing. In January of 2024, I participated in the Shark Fest in Corpus Christi, tied for a win in the super heavy division there, went up a division. And it's just progressed from there. I went on and have had several more competitions, pretty successful. But kind of always from like novice to like low level open to different organizations. But Official Strongman Games is the biggest organization for amateur strong people. And it's kind of for the open heavyweight men, the feeder to Giants Live, feeder to World's Strongest Man. So it's one of the biggest places out there. There are others, the Strongman Corp that sends people to the Arnolds and some other stuff, but OSG is a very significant and one of the bigger stages you can be on, especially for weight classes or people in the masters divisions when you're over 40. So I was blessed to get to go. Like I said, qualified a couple months ago and trained the last 3 months. It was a heavier show. The way the show works is it's 3 days. The first day, all the athletes compete for 2 events. The second day, all the athletes compete for 2 events. Day 3, they cut the athletes in every division down to 10. The top 10 in every division get to go to the finals. They rescore everything as if they were the only 10 competing, which might change the placings a little bit. And then those last 10 athletes get a chance on Sunday to compete in the finals and, win their weight class. So it was great. The contest took place over Friday, Saturday, Sunday of last weekend. I drove up Wednesday night, got to see my parents. They live in the area, spend a little time on their ranch. Thursday, I got to go to the arena. I did the check-in. They take pictures of you, formal pictures, funnier pictures. You check in with you. I didn't have to weigh in because I'm an open heavyweight, but for weight classes, obviously they have to make weight. They give you all kind of their cool stuff, and there's a whole lot of vendors for strength, different apparel vendors, different equipment vendors, and then a lot of professional strongmen put their booths up for their apparel, their branding stuff, and then they were all there. So I got to meet all kinds of cool people. Obviously, I get the privilege to train with Austin Andrade and Nick Cardione. They came later through the day, but I got to meet Lucas Hatton. I got to meet Magnus for Magnuson. I got to meet Jerry Pritchett. I got to meet Nick Best. I met Liz and Loss from the Liz and Loss channel. I got to meet a bunch of other amateur athletes that I'm a big fan of. I got to meet Andrea Thompson, who we'll talk about later, one of the strongest women in the world, in the history of the world. I got to spend time with friends. I got to spend time with the guys that I competed against in the Southwest Regional. Just a blast on Thursday. I was alone at this time. The plan was my wife was going to come up Friday late and watch me compete. I didn't compete till 5:30 Friday night, but very sweetly she decided to come up Thursday night. So Thursday night, I ended up meeting her after the meet and greets and the rules meeting and all that such. Met her for dinner. We went to sleep. Friday morning, get up. I went to the opening ceremony. And then came back to the hotel and just crashed. Just hung out with my wife. I think they went shopping for a little bit while I just crashed at the hotel, relaxed. And then maybe 2 o'clock on Friday, I showed back up at the arena. The lighter weight classes are competing. They're all running the competitions through the day. And they got ready. So the first event for me was a log press that's called a Trump log. It's called Trump because there's 3 different weight selections you can make. So for me, it was 285 pounds, 310 pounds, and a 340 pound. Any weight at the higher log trumps the reps at the lower log. What that means is if I did 1 rep at 310, you could do 1, 3, 10, or 15 reps at 285. my 310 beats your 285 rep. Same with 340 to 310. So there were 30 guys in my division, or 28 in my division, something like that. I opted for the 310. I had hit 310 in training this whole prep. I've never hit 340. Maybe I could, maybe I couldn't. I don't know. Warm-ups for that were terrible. I was nervous. The warm-up area was great. The camaraderie at that place is amazing. But the log was a little different. It was bigger handles. It was spaced different. The weights were different. I was nervous. So the warm-ups, I think I stopped at 265, and it felt terrible. It felt like a planet. It felt heavy. I was really nervous. But I knew the log was different. I felt strong. I knew I was rested. I knew I was conditioned. And I was like, well, I mean, I haven't missed 300 or 310 in this entire prep. I hit 320 3 weeks ago. I don't really feel like I shouldn't go for the 310. So I talked to my coach. He was there with me. Austin was there. And we were just like, let's go for the 310. If we miss, then do your best to get some 285s up. The problem when you do that, another friend of mine who competed, he said he was going balls to the wall. I'm going for the 340, even though he'd never hit 340. And his theory was if you don't get the top weight, there's not a good chance you'll make the finals, which might be true. But when you put a max effort into a lift, it's really hard to come back and put like a max effort into another lift and hit 85, 90% of your max. So I wasn't going to try 340 on the 5-10% chance I would just had the day of my life and it went up, only to miss it, go back to 310, not be able to hit 310, and then probably not be able to hit 285, which happened to that friend. I didn't want that to happen. But I did feel pretty confident at 310. I got myself psyched up. I got my head right. So they announced my name. Gabriel Pena was the announcer. He was fantastic. I walked out and put the whistle blew, logged to my knees, cleaned it, lapped it, cleaned it. Clean was easy, which was nice. Went for the press, and it went up. It didn't feel stupid heavy. It felt about right, but my feet were kind of shaky, and so I kind of did this dance under there. We'll put the video down. And I was stable just long enough for the judge, who's a very good judge, a lady named Tiffany, who was an Australian strong woman. She was fantastic all weekend. She gave me the down call, but I think I was right on that edge. I pressed the weight. It wasn't the problem, but I think my nerves and just keeping it stable. And I also think it moved easier than I thought it would, the way prep went. So that was great. I got a rep. I didn't zero. I'm on the board. I got the middle log. It was like mid-pack. I went for a second one probably too soon, and just I hadn't recovered at all. I don't think I get a second rep if I'm looking back. No matter what I do, I just got to keep training to get a little better. Maybe if I'd have waited longer and tried the second rep with like 10 seconds left, I had a shot. But whatever, I couldn't be happier with that. So that left me mid-pack. That left me like 18th out of the 28, 29 guys. The next event that day on Friday was a frame carry. This is a terrible event for me. I am still growing in the sport. I haven't had many opportunities to do grip events. I've never done a Hercules hold. The only grip event I did was in 2025 in February, which was a grip on the floor with a thing for time. I only had one competitor. He kind of slipped out of his hand, so I only had to do like 15 seconds. So I've never really had my grip pressed. And frame is a lot of grip. Frame is, you don't get to use straps unless they tell you we didn't get straps. The handles are smooth. They're not knurled. So, I mean, it's just about having the power. I don't have especially big hands for the sport, and I've only prepped it for this competition. Prep, the heaviest weight I ever put on the frame was 650. This was 730. I only went 25 feet with the 650. I just didn't want to zero this event. So I got out, was hyped up. Nick Best was my judge. Whistle blows. I pick the frame up, and I start moving, and I feel okay. It's heavy as hell. But again, it's my last event of the day. Bam, bam, and just bam, I hear it hit the floor, and my left hand gave out. And that was, 7 seconds in. I've moved it like 7-8 feet. And I tried to pick it up for 50 more seconds, and it hurts. I was kind of smiling at the judge, like, nothing I can do, man. But, despite it being, an event where I didn't score well, I was probably 21st, 22nd out of the 28 guys. I PR'd it. It was a PR for me. I picked the damn thing up, without straps. I moved it. I've got a lot of work to do. The top guys who ended up winning the show, they not only pick it up, they run with it. They can fly. And I just got a lot of work to do in that area. But again, I PR'd, I'm happy. Go to bed Friday night. I'm pretty amped, but I'm able to calm down. I'm able to go to sleep. Again, I was really sweet of my wife to be there with my beautiful stepkids. And Saturday, get up. And Saturday's a little easier day. I don't have to go in the morning for any ceremonies. I just relax, have the stream on a little bit to watch my buddies compete. I had 2 other guys from Heavy Metal Fitness, my gym, go. Rob DeLong and Corey Roberts, no, Corey DeQuan, sorry, and Rob DeLong. I don't know what I had the names mixed up. I'm dumb. Anyway, Corey and Rob. Corey was a lightweight, 90 kilogram competitor. Rob is heavyweight competitor, but 50 years old. And they both did great. I'll talk about them in a minute. So I wake up, and the next event, the third event, and the first event on day 2 is a deadlift ladder. And again, we'll show all these events as we go. The deadlift ladder is 4 deadlifts in sequence from lowest to highest: 675, 725, 765, and 800 on a what's called a flex bar. It's a Kratos bar. It's a service bar, I think, and it's a whole lot more flex. It's 2 feet longer than a regular bar, and they put a bunch of bumper plates on it, which are thicker. And the advantage there is there's so much flex with the bar, and the plates on the are so much wider out that you are much higher in the pick before you ever actually have it completely off the ground. So it's more like a 13-inch pull than it is a 9-inch pull from the ground. So that's the last bar. In prep, this was probably my the most progress I made in my events. My previous max was 675, and then key to this is you can use deadlift suits, which I didn't have till a month ago. So I pulled 675. I've had some middle back problems. I've had some technique problems to where I was kind of lifting with my back and not my posterior chain. And but I felt pretty strong. I felt like I could get decent numbers. So we got a deadlift suit about a month ago. I put it on a number of times because they're super tight. You wear tights and you gotta just shove your legs. And I'm a chunky dude, so getting my leg fat and getting myself stuffed into that thing. Me and my friends and my coach get real close when we're getting these things put on. But once it's up, you put straps over your shoulders. It's like a jumpsuit or a onesie. And when you bend down, there's all this pressure in your hips, and it keeps me upright. And so when I pull off the floor, it's almost like a spring with that neoprene getting you up. So I had one deadlift session with Austin by myself at the gym, and I pulled 675 like it was easy. I was still getting used to the suit. Then the next deadlift session, the last deadlift session before the show, I pulled 725, and it was like an RPE 8.5, 8.5. 9 maybe, but it moved kind of easy. That wasn't in sequence, but I pulled 725 and I felt pretty good. So get to the show Saturday. Warm-ups are going great. The suit got on. I hurt my finger like an idiot putting the suit on. I fell from when we were holding myself in the yoke. It is what it is. It just bled. Doesn't hurt that bad. And went out. The warm-ups, I stopped at 585. There was no point. I just need the gas tank. Go out, whistle blows. I'm in the earlier heat because I did so bad in the event before. And don't take my time, but I'm very deliberate to get the 675. Straps on, lean back, bam, it flies up. I mean, boom, I don't zero, right? Now I feel good. I pulled 675. That's good. I move up to 725, strap in. Longer than I wanted, but it's hard for me to get down. I'm not used to the suit. But I'm moving at an okay pace. Chest up, head up. Move it. The 725 flies off the floor. I get to the knees, and I hit a wall. Luckily, it's over my knees, and I just slowly grind and get it up. Nick Best is the judge, and he's like, hips through. Got him. Get the down call, and I'm feeling pretty good. I would have loved to get the 765. I took a step up. I strapped in, but, I mean, I think if I'd have had 10 minutes rest, maybe there was a chance. But at that moment, doing those 2 weights before, it just wasn't going to happen. But I matched my PR. I did a PR for competition. I did them in succession. And only 10 guys in my division and only like 20 guys in the whole show pulled more than 725, period. So, I feel pretty good about myself there. I was the slowest to get 2 bars, so my points were still, I was 21st to the event, despite tying, 11 guys by getting 2 bars. But I beat plenty of people who zeroed or only got the first bar. And again, only 10 guys got 4 or 3 bars in that in my division. So, and then the open heavyweights, they opened at 725, and there were guys who missed. So, I mean, I feel pretty good about my deadlift. Last event for day 2 was the sandbag steeple, a 300-pound bag. I thought it was going to be a regular bag where I get my arms around. It was a stone training bag, so it was a 300-pound Cerberus sandbag stuffed really tight, but it was as big as an Atlas stone. I'm 5'9", 5'8 3/4. My arms aren't particularly long. Great for some events, for overhead and stuff. Not great for sandbags and not great for stones. And I just haven't trained it as good. It's still an event I'm in progress in. I picked this. I picked the bag up. You only get points if you get it over the first hitching post. I make it 3 feet. I drop it. I can't get the bag from my lap to my chest. It just keeps slipping out of my arms. So ended it on a pretty low note. I zeroed that event. Overall, I think I ended 24th out of the 27, 28 guys. But I did make the finals, so that's why I say I'm the 24th strongest 40-year-old plus in the world. Very pleased, very proud. I think I prepped as good as I could for the whole contest. I think I gave myself the best opportunity, and I think I performed to my prep. I think I performed what my prep said it would happen. So I'm extremely hungry to go back. I'm, already doing some recovery work and the away from the gym stuff with diet, walks, and stretching. I go back to the gym next week. But I'm excited to get a chance to go back. I felt like I belonged. I felt like I acquitted myself well. I hit big numbers. And, like I said, there weren't many people who could deadlift or log press more than me at the whole event, period. And we're talking about for the open men guys that could compete in World's Strongest Man. So I'm on my way to being in that mix one day. And I've only trained for 3.5 years. So Corey did great. He had a wonderful day one. Day two wasn't his best, but he acquitted himself well. Pastor Rob DeLong, I can't say enough good things. I think he performed the best of all three of us. He got 16th in the men's 50. He PR'd the deadlift. He smashed the log. He did his middle log for 3 reps, which got him tied for 5th in that event. He moved the frame a lot further than me, and he did, I think, one of the steeplechase. I can't remember, but he did much better in the steeplechase than I did. Different division, but congrats to him. He should be so proud. Especially the deadlift. He had a 20-pound PR on the deadlift, and it flew up. And he had been in his head about that, and I'm really happy he got that up. So proud of my crew. Want to thank my wife for all the support and the time missed from the family that she's supportive. I have to eat a different diet. I sleep different schedules sometimes. I get up early to go to the gym. Sometimes there's late gym sessions so I can be with my coach. There's weekends we go to the gym. There's things we can't do. We don't always, I don't drink. With her, so we don't go out and party and stuff, all that sacrifice, and she was nothing but supportive, and the whole weekend was about me, and that was really, really special. My gym family, heavy metal, I just can't thank y'all enough. It's changed my life completely, from being just a overweight, sedentary lawyer who couldn't go on a scouting trip with his son to competing on a world stage. It's real surreal, and I'm really grateful. To the guys I went with, Corey and Rob, y'all were so supportive and so cool. Thank you. To everyone at OSG, all the support, all the love, just the environment. The thing was run well. There's so many great volunteers. I met so many amazing athletes. I met so many pro athletes, and just, again, I felt like I belonged there. And that's a result of them being opening and welcoming. My coach, my bro, Austin, thank you so much, Austin Andrade. He made the trip. All three of us, me, Corey, and Rob, were his clients. He's there with all of us through the warm-ups, through getting the deadlift suits on right before, and the corridor as we leave, comes back and meets us the other place. Nothing but encouraging, helpful, just wonderful, man. I really appreciate it. And again, if you don't know, like, Austin and Nick are pros. These guys compete in the Rogue and the Arnold, World's Strongest Man and Strongest Man on Earth. So for them to come down and spend the time they did, giving back to the athletes and giving back to their clients, I really appreciate it. Nick, thank you, buddy. We're going to have you on next week. But thank you so much for the encouragement. On my opening log press, Austin had come up earlier, so I'd been talking to him, and he was in the tunnel. I go, and I'm looking at the little crowd there and at my judge, but I hear to my right, I know Nick's voice because we've worked out together so much, and I can hear Nick give me encouragement, giving me cues, and that I honestly think had a lot to do with me getting that weight up. So again, I just can't thank everybody enough. So just what a wonderful event. I'm so thrilled. I feel relief that I did well. I feel relief that I matched my prep. I feel excited for the future. I did beat the guy who beat me in the Southwest Regional, so there's some progress there. Obviously, 24th, I want to do better, but I think I did the best I was going to do. And I just can't, I'm in awe of the athletes that I competed against. For the 40-plus men, they were all 6 to 8 inches taller. I was as tall as one other guy there. Huge men. 2 of the guys, Jeff Krohn and Dimitar Savatinov, had been World's Strongest Man finalists in the past. That's the level that I'm competing at now. And it was an honor and privilege to be there. Everybody was nice. Everybody's cool. So that was wonderful. I don't know what else to say about that, but thank you to the support, the love from everybody. I do want to mention, and I want to shout out Jay Dickens as well. She was very sweet and supportive. She competed at the 50 Masters. She did great in her division, and someone in the strength world that's very encouraging to me. She hosts a ton of shows and is someone who just gives back to the strength world and powerlifting, strongman, and a bunch of other sports. And she's just fantastic. So I want to give her the love as well. It's worth mentioning. Unfortunately, it's made the whole lot of news. Another part of of OSG 2025. Like I said at the beginning, the official strongman games is the pinnacle, basically, for everyone that's not an open heavyweight man in the sport. World's Strongest Woman is OSG 2025. World's Strongest 80 kilo, 90 kilo, 73 kilo, 82 kilo. That's their competition. That's the pinnacle. There aren't others. I say that, I mean, for open women, it's the World's Strongest Man. There is Rogue, there is Arnold for women, so I don't want to diminish those. And then Strongest Man on Earth does have a open division. So there are places and opportunities. But essentially, OSG's the biggest one, and or among the bigger ones, especially for the weight classes. Open women have some opportunities, but this is big. This is their World's Strongest Man. There is no World's Strongest Man for women, so this is it. A woman competed in the open division named Andrea Thompson and a bunch of others. I think there were like 25 in that division, and they're amazing athletes. And the headline is she lost her title to a man that's transgender and now identifies as a woman. Pause. That's what the news is right now. I want to point out, like, the people that compete at this level at OSG, I went through my story 3.5 years. That's a long time, but not a whole long time. And you saw where that got me. I'm excited. I'm proud of myself, but I'm 24th. And to beat the guys that were in the top 5, I probably need at least 3 more years to even get into that consideration. That's not me down on myself. That's the reality. That's how elite of athletes they are, and that's how hard they work. Everyone in the top 10 of the women, that's where they're at. These are athletes that have given themselves to strength sports for years and years, probably a decade at least for all of them. Andrea Thompson specifically, I think, is in the end of her second decade in strength sports, most of it strongman. Elite powerlifter, a huge strength athlete, just a wonderful person. So that's what we're talking about. And I set that background up because this woman named, I think it's Jamie Booker, kind of out of nowhere, this was her 3rd overall competition. She's 6'5", about 400 pounds. And she wasn't ahead of Andrea through most of the show. And the last event was a natural stone loading series. And when you do Atlas stones or natural stones or really big sandbags, your arm length is a huge factor. Now, you know, we're all built different. You got to deal with the event in front of you. But we kind of knew, and everyone who knows, not Andrea's best event. Andrea only got 1 of the 4 stones. Jamie got 3. And the point differential was enough to overcome, I think, a 6-point deficit. Andrea was ahead by 6. She ended up losing by 1, lost her title. Andrea was mostly gracious after, said the right things, didn't care for losing. But the next day, it came out that Jamie Booker is trans. She has an OnlyFans where it's displayed. You know, there's no doubt she's born a biological man. She still has biological man genitalia. And it's unfortunate, to say the least. Of course, Jamie never disclosed that I've seen on the web. She had competed in 2 shows prior where she took pro cards from other athletes that could have made the podium that didn't. She took a spot at OSG from a woman that could have made OSG. She took a spot in the finals that from another woman named Taylor Doxey, who could have made the finals. She took a spot on the podium, and I can't remember who was 3rd place that didn't get on the podium. And then, of course, she took the win from Andrea. So OSG 3 days later does the right thing. They've disqualified her. They reordered the points. They've reorganized. I assume they're sending the trophies and the medals out the right way. And they have officially, disqualified her for that. JF Carone, who runs North America's Strongest Man and that federation, that was one of the other shows that Jamie Booker had done. She was in 2nd place there. He has disqualified her, reorganized, redone the points. And so that's taken care of. I don't know about the other competitions she competed in. So it is now handled. I want to shout out, the sport in general has been very accepting. This is a sport that accepts people that maybe don't do other sports. My friend Austin was like, this is a sports for freaks, people who are huge, people who are athletic, but maybe don't have a home in other sports. So the conversation around this hasn't been bigoted. It's about fairness. I don't think it's hard to come to the conclusion that a biological male with their advantages shouldn't be competing with open women. I told you where I'm at in the sport. I'm in a master's heavyweight. I'm 24th there. I would have been mauled if I'd have gone open heavyweight men. I probably win the women's open. That's not me being arrogant. That's not me disrespecting them. That's the biological difference. Andrea is a professional, elite, strong woman, deserved that title. But the biological disadvantages or differences between men and women, it just isn't, it wouldn't be competitive. It's not fair in a strength sport. I think that's obvious to most people. So it's not about not including. It's about fairness to women's athletes. So I'm glad they disqualified her. I don't know what the answer is to stop this going forward. I'm not going to oppose it. Mitch Hooper went on his podcast and was like, you can just check the genitalia. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable just telling women they have to strip to be able to compete. That doesn't sound right. And I think the solution to this needs to come from the women athletes themselves and their own dignity and how they handle it. So I guess I appreciate the feedback from Mitch, but that doesn't sound right. But my other thoughts, I think people should check out Inez Carrasquillo's Instagram on her statement. She's the number one strong woman in the world right now. I don't think it's that close right now either. She's just been elite. She's openly bisexual, part of that community. And I thought her statement was gracious. And part of what she said was to Jamie, like, I'm disappointed, but I wish you'd have been open because that would have given us the opportunity to accept you, find a category for you, create your own category. I think the couple sad things that are coming over this. One, what a missed opportunity for Jamie Booker and the trans community to go in, honestly, I'm transsexual. I want to be able to compete because I'm not going to compete with the open men, but I can't compete with the open women. They probably would have created a category. She would have been celebrated. She would have had her own category. She would have been cheered, celebrated. She could have pioneered opening this to trans athletes and they can compete in their own. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a missed opportunity. The way she did it, though, puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It, I think, opens the door to bigotry towards women and trans people in general that didn't need to have that door open. There's enough of that already in the world. But now what's happening is women like Inez Carrasquillo, Rebecca Roberts, Lucy Underdown are getting disgusting messages, other elite strong women, accusing them of being trans, attacking their looks, attacking whether or not they take PEDs, and they did nothing to deserve that. They're just trying to compete and be an athlete. But the bigotry and sexism innate in our society is jumping on this opportunity because of Jamie's decision not to disclose that. And that's really tragic and sad. So the Attorney General of Texas is now investigating official strongman games. Why do we want that in our lives? This story is smeared on all social media, on platforms. I saw stories on Fox and others. That's not the attention we want to give the sport. I want to give the attention to the sport to guys like Daniel Pledger, who was third in my division, who's a veteran, who almost beat 2 World Strongest Man competitors. I want to talk about the adaptive games where a blind man won his class outright. I want to talk about Aaron Murray, who won for the fourth time as a world champion at 2 different weight classes. I want to talk about Andrea Thompson, who in her 40s still won the open division. I want to talk about, I'm trying to remember the guy who, James Pataka, is that his name? Who won the open men's, who's going to be a Giants Live competitor and maybe World Strongest Man competitor. I'm going to talk about myself. That's what we want to talk about. And I don't want to have a controversy and I don't want the sport to be diminished because we have these kind of things, an unforced error that didn't need to happen. So that's the frustration, the bigotry towards all of it, the lack of fairness, and the fact that now we have attention on the sport, the kind of attention we didn't want. So I don't know what comes positive of this. I do know that I love the community I'm a part of. I do know that I've loved the feedback I've gotten. None of the posts and none of the comments have been like, transphobic. It's fairness to women, period. And if you're going to play this game that, there is no gender and we all compete together, then women aren't going to have a place in strongman. And if anybody wants that, I don't want anything to do with you. It just isn't the right answer. So that's unfortunate. I thought I would address it because, that's the biggest story to come out of official strongman games, and I was there. But that shouldn't be the biggest story. What I think the biggest story should be is Andrea Thompson's win. I think it should be Aaron Murray's win. I think it should be a guy named James Doggett who zeroed the log event in the middleweights and freaking tore it up and ended up second place in that division, which was hyper competitive. It should be the people, the elite athletes, the adaptive athletes. It should be the community. It should be that's what should be celebrated. So encourage you to reach out to those athletes. Encourage you to reach out and support the people who won, the people who competed, the people who gave their all. Support official Strongman games and say thank you to them. I want to say thank you to everybody for the support. Next week on Fiegel Files, we'll be back with Nick Guardione, who was there on commentary. Excuse me. One of my good friends, kind of a co-coach for me, just someone who's motivating pro strongman for this last year, had the best 2024 in the history of mankind for strongman amateurs, all around good guy. So he'll be on next week. We'll probably break down OSG a little more. We'll talk about his career and, we'll go from there. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of my show, and we'll see you next time.